Hello and welcome to Miracle, English Language and Literature Institute. I'm Professor Abha Sharma and today I'm back with the discussion of a literary theory. Today I'm going to do Mikhail Bakhtin's Dialogism. Mikhail Bakhtin, the Russian writer, philosopher and a socialist. He was a literature and linguist enthusiast. His PhD was on Rabelais, the French Renaissance philosopher and author. But then it was a controversial topic and he was not awarded his PhD degree and he was taken into internal prison in Kazakhstan. He lived between 1895 to 1975. He later became invalid. He wrote most of his work in 1920s but then was discovered very late in 1960s. Most of his work came into limelight in 1970s. He even worked on the works of Fyodor Dostoevsky, another very famous Russian writer. He worked on the art of Dostoevsky and came out with new theories. He made a contrast between monologism and dialogism. Now, monologue and dialogue, they are two very different things. Monologue is when one speaker speaks and talking all alone his views, his truths, his philosophy, and mostly he is the only speaker. There is nobody to contradict him, to correct him, to inform him and things like that. In dialogue, you have more than one person sitting and conversing. So, the monologue cannot be challenged. It has the truth within itself. It is according to the one perspective. It cannot be challenged because there is nobody present in the same time period at the same place. See, this is a monologue which I am doing at present. I don't have you people in front of me arguing or correcting or even affirming my statements. Later on when you will listen, you will be at a different place in a totally different set of timings. So, monologue is very, very different. In a dialogue, there are more than one person and they talk, replying to each other. They even correct. If the information is not up to the mark, the other speaker can correct. He can extend the dialogue. He can even inform the person. So there are many things involved in a dialogue and there are very few things involved in a monoglia, that is monologue or monologism. Dialogue or dialogism or dialogic. These are the terms related to these two special features of literary theory today we are discussing. So, Mikhail Bakhtin, he talked and he favored the dialogism. Why? Because he said that we cannot have a single perspective. No argument can be seen through the same angle at a given time or place. So he says that dialogue is more extensive and it increases or say it extends in both the direction. So when we say that the past dialogues, they guide the present one and the present dialogues, they improve or they change the past ones according to the present social situations, and the present dialogues, they form as the model for the future dialogues. So here we can incorporate the theory of T.S. Eliot when he said that the same thing, that the past guides the present and the present molds the past. So in his tradition and individual talent, he explains that every person working on any subject has to have the prior knowledge till date. He has to update his knowledge of whatever has been done till date. So then only a person can proceed further and he can manipulate, he can change, he can model his thoughts according to the present conditions, the social, the political and others. So when a person talks about monoglia or monologue, it is considered to be the ultimate truth according to that person only. Generally, the God's word is taken as a monologue, and that is the final because it has come from the mouth of God. It is anticipated that God Himself talked. So, all the religious teachings and the words they do not come under any criticism. They cannot be challenged, because if you challenge or criticize the word of God or the teachings of religion, that means you will be hurting people, because people are very staunch and they get attached to the religious things very fast. But when the dictator gives a monologue, or he thinks that whatever he does is right, in the beginning he is accepted because of the fear he has created amongst the public. But then later on he can be challenged. In a dialogue, a person is challenged then and there only. He is informed, he is affirmed, he is corrected. There are so many things which go parallelly. So he says that plurality of consciousness is there when many people give their view on the same subject. When there is a dialogue, the topics keep switching, and you have a good time having a great vent by informing, or say by expressing your views. Now he says when a person writes a novel and when a person writes a poem, these are two very different categories of literature. When a poet writes a poem, he is writing a monologue in a way. He is expressing his thoughts. He is very much subjective about the topic. And when we read, we may or may not agree with him. But when there is a dialogue, people can identify with one of the characters. So the author leaves his characters free to discuss, even to challenge the author himself. There are characters who talk against the author's point of view. Usually a novelist is so open-hearted and he makes variety of characters who have different point of views, who have this multiplicity of thoughts which come together and which of course can provoke the thinking patterns of the readers also. The reader is new, the reader is raw. If you show him one point of view, he would believe. And if you give many points of view, he would of course try to choose, work on the different points of views and come up with one where he can relate it to. So he will have the process of thinking coming in progress. So dialogue or the novel form or the drama where many characters are there and they express themselves. When we talk of, say, King Lear, and he is dividing his kingdom between his three daughters, so the two daughters are in contrast to the third one. They express the things which are not expressed by the third one. So all three are different and they are the product of Shakespeare only. So how well Shakespeare has managed balancing the two different points of view. Again, in many other novels, in many other dramas, we see the same thing progressing. This plurality of consciousness, this polyphony is needed where it grants different ideologies, different perspectives to the readers or the audience. Every word has a history of usage to which it responds and anticipates a future response. All the thoughts in our mind going on are dialogic. That means dialogism is so important in this life. It is there, it is present every time. We have the multiple consciousness in us. We are not governed by one consciousness. We are not robots. We are not clones. We do not think alike. We are different beings. We have a variegated beauty in this world by different people, different thoughts, different points of view, different perspectives. So you can read that in Hopkins' By Beauty. This world is made up of different things. So how can we all believe in one religion, one political party, or say one whatever ideal or moral? We are all different and we think in a different manner. So when a writer writes a novel and he formulates different characters, and the characters, they speak their mind, and this way the phenomena is set up, and this is often called phenomenology. The way the novel trends have been developed or evolved. Dialogism can promote heteroglossia because it represents different speech genres. You know what? Different characters coming from different places, they have got the different languages, different styles, different accent. So this way a novel becomes very rich in heteroglossia. Heteroglossia, different glossary, different words. A word doesn't have a same meaning. It is not constant. It keeps changing. The connotation of the word changes with every person. It is always according to the situation, the social background, the political background. Also, it is related to the person who's speaking, whether he's older or a younger person, or he's a male or she's a female. All of this is dependent on the meaning of a word. So it keeps changing. It is never constant. It is never fixed. You can never fix dialogism. The truth attached to monoglia is a single truth and is based on the person speaking the monologue. But the truth with dialogism is based on different truths of different speakers. Your truth is different. My truth is different. And the ultimate truth which comes out assimilating all the truths may be different. So different perspectives give rise to different truths. Therefore, we believe in the variety of things, different things. We are all different beings. So heteroglossia or phenomenology are again the part of dialogism. The dialogue proceeds in a continuous phenomena. It has the continuity, it has the multiplicity of ideas and thoughts, it has the plurality of consciousness, that is the different layers of consciousness, whereas the monoglia is fixed, is monotonous, is a word of one person. It has a limited perspective. I have tried to make this theory very simple for you, and I know that how difficult it is to make a complex theory so simple. But then I have tried my best. There is much more to it, which cannot be done in a single video. And do like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do go and watch my literary theory, intertextuality and reader response theory, because they too are also connected with dialogism. I have done many literary theories till now on modernism, postmodernism, deconstruction, structuralism, post-structuralism, post-colonialism, new criticism, new critics, then eco-criticism, as I already said, intertextuality and reader response theory, psychoanalysis, both on Sigmund Freud and Jacques Lacan, and new historicism. So you can watch all these videos if you're really interested in cracking the exam UGC-NET. And if you want to come here and be taught personally by me with a very fine group, then you're most welcome here. Thank you.